certain chemicals to penetrate. Cytoplasmic membrane structure. A lipid bilayer with proteins embedded serves as a site for energy reactions, nutrient processing, synthesis, regulates transport of nutrients and waste, selectively permeable, special carrier mechanisms for passage of molecules. Differences in cell envelope structure. Outer membrane of gram-negative bacteria contributes an extra barrier. Resistance to certain antimicrobial chemicals. More difficult to inhibit or kill the gram-positive bacteria. Alcohol-based compounds dissolve lipids in the outer membrane and therefore damage the cell. Alcohol swabs usually cleanse the skin before procedures. Treatment of infections caused by gram-negative bacteria requires drugs that cross the outer membrane.
This nigga said he don't attack the altar. This nigga attacked the altar immediately. today. She be alright. I would tell Pam to throw through it too. Ministries. I think it's because I killed the Phantom. If I ain't killed the Phantom, I think they still be here. I killed 2 Phantoms, so the Phantoms are just wherever you go, I believe. Hey, Auntie.
Yeah, I just realized what time it is.
Nah, they just...
When I looked at first, I thought it said 9:26. I'm like, oh shit, that's the date.
Nah, I was sitting here, I was like, nah, I said, we just sitting here. We went to work because this was their second day, so pretty much we got left on our own today.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So
how long did it take y'all?
Probably about an hour and a half.
Oh, that's not too bad.
With 5 of us on there, it went quick.
Oh, so Teddy decided to go to work.
Yeah, I told him, I said, you got to pick a side. If you running with me, run with me. I told him...
He stubbed out all his homework.
Man, he got that done quick and efficient. What it was is, he was talking about the notes, and I showed him how to go through his book. I said, then I showed him where the extra notes are. I said, this stuff you got to know. You growing up. I said, you can't play the baby and you can't play the big boy. You got to pick one. And so, he got it.
You still need to get all the information. Even at the book, see, the book. And what about the notes on that book called Dojo? Are they there?
So, what it was, Tiny and them just helped him. Because they was telling him what they went through when they went through the 5th grade. That's why I was saying, I was like, you got too many siblings. And the funny thing is, all of us studying the same thing right now. That's why I didn't understand why he was, getting all bent. You know, I'm saying.
But he kept talking about the notes. If the notes were on Dojo, then it seems like she could tell the kids the notes are on Dojo.
It's not so much.
They're telling you all that everything they can get online, but then it's not there.
No, that's not the thing. No, that he was just overwhelmed. But like I told him, I showed him how to look for the notes because he wasn't understanding how to look for the notes properly. So I showed him that. And after I showed him how to look for the notes and things like that, I even showed him extra notes. I was like, this.
Okay, and now that he knows how to do that, then he won't be overwhelmed. But if you're telling somebody to keep up, but you're not saying, well, you can get this information elsewhere if you don't take all your notes in class.
But that's the thing. That's why I was telling him. I was like, first off, you gotta calm down.
And we can't assume the kids know where to find extra notes. Those are things we were taught. But we, like I say, we learned how to do it, using encyclopedias, going to the library, blah, 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 blah. It's different now, how they do stuff.
I think, honestly, it just come down to he gotta perform. Because like I told him, I say, there's no excuse for you. I said, because you always talk about that what you can do, and you don't want us to treat you like no baby. So I just hollered at him about everything, and then that's what he calmed down and he got it done. And so but I told him, I said, it's not a death sentence. All you got to do is do what you're supposed to.
Brandon, with your children, okay, when it comes to their grades, they better make the grades.
You have a heart of gold.
So, if they get scared, okay, say for instance Teddy, if he gets scared, he's not going to make the grades because he's not getting all his bullet points or whatever. Yeah, he's going to be overwhelmed. That's why I was asking, what are the resources?
Yeah, that's understandable. But like I told him, I said, but that's the thing. I'm like, there's ways around it. But I told him what I was.
What he needs to know, the ways around it.
But
what he doesn't know.
But like I was telling him, I said the streets are gonna call you worse than keep up with the herd, and that's why I was saying that soft. I was like, "Fuck, I tell you all the time, people are going to say some rude things. I'm not excusing it. I'm saying you got to be like, not let that affect you,
Yeah, but see the thing about it, an adult saying something rude to a kid is totally different from a kid saying something rude to a kid. Because a kid, your own peer, you can speak back. You can't do that with an authority figure.
But the thing is, she didn't say nothing, in my opinion, that was really bad compared to some of the stuff I be having to discuss with them kids about, like, how them kids be talking up there crazy. That's why I told him, I say, bro, you gonna have to tough through that. You like, it's not gonna kill you. You got this. And I'm gonna encourage you. But like I told him, I said, you an athlete. You gonna hear his coach talk to him strong. So he's used to strong talk. That's why I was like...
Yeah, he's used to strong talk, but with that strong talk, it's with reinforcement on what changes you need to make or what you need to do to become better or reach your goals.
But
if you're not getting that, or if you're not saying, like say, if she's not saying, well, you can find this information in your book, or it's on Dojo, or the notes, or whatever, then if you feel like you don't have everything, then you feel like you're going to fail.
But that's the thing, like, he brought the book home, so I'm like, he has some sense, and I just went through and showed him, I said, bro, everything is right here. And he
was mainly saying he didn't get all the bullet points.
But I showed him the point.
So he needs to be able to read through information and figure out what the main point of that information is.
You have a heart of
because
gold.
like most kids starting out doing that, like I say, they think they ought to write a book. They're supposed to write everything. They don't realize there are major points, and the other is just miscellaneous. So you need to understand what the major points are and what the minor ones are.
Because he was like the big thing for real, like. And I showed him. And I even showed him extra points. I'm like, this is the stuff right here. Can't nobody... And once he seen that, he was like, okay. because he didn't know like the bold letters. I'm like the bold words. I say those are.
See, that's what I'm saying.
But at the same time, I know my child. My child has tendencies to. He knows how to
Okay,
put.
and like I say, once you pointed that out to him, it clicked.
Yeah, but Buck is one of those. Buck, like, he takes the lazy route out sometimes. So like I'm gonna be hard on
They
him.
all do.
So, but that's why.
I work with them before.
Yeah, but not, and that's why I was telling him, nah, grow up here, because at work, it wasn't nothing. He understands that. So like, like I'm telling him, we ain't just doing this so that.
He understands the word because you give a specific instruction, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing
And
when.
anything you think he might not know, you're gonna tell him.
Yeah, but see, like when we talked about even that situation with his teacher, I was like, bro, what you do is you let her get the teaching out the way, and then you come back and say, hey, I missed these, and I didn't want to interrupt the class. It's chess moves. I said they'll respect you for that. Now, if he does that and she got an issue with that, then that's when I'm gonna enter the chat. And she gonna have to discuss it with me face to face, and she gonna have to answer.
See, that's what I mean. Okay, even if he asked, how couldn't she just say, Teddy, we got a lot to cover. Let me get through the lecture, and then we'll go back. Instead of saying, you need to keep up with the rest of the class. She's assuming the whole class is keeping up. She doesn't know. And so what my problem is the way she did it. Because like I say, she could have said, well, our time is limited. Let me get through the lecture, and then we can go back. Instead of saying keep up. Because if a child says they're not keeping up, then that means they're missing something. No, it was the way she did it.
I understand that.
Telling him, wait to the end, and then we'll answer questions, blah, blah, blah.
But I said, me personally, I still don't have an issue with that because, like, that's striking a challenge. That's what.
I say that because when it comes to kids, I'm probably a different type of teacher. Okay.
Right. And
I say that because most of my career, I train people.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And that's what. And so I would never tell if I'm training 3 or 4 people, and somebody said they weren't getting something. Then I would tell them, let's get through this, and then I'll get with you. And then if anybody else have any questions, we can do it at the end. And that's my way of teaching.
Right. But that.
Like I say, that's what I've always done. And like I say, these were adults that I taught. And like I say, a lot of them catch on to what I was teaching as I was teaching them. And so sometimes it had to be individual. Or depending on what it was, especially if you had a deadline, well, you had to wait till we made this deadline, and then we could go back if you had individual questions or whatever. And so I look at it as the way I train people, and I train thousands of people.
Right.
And so I would have never told somebody who wasn't getting anything, you need to keep up with everybody else.
I think.
There's a way. See, there's a way of telling people things.
I agree, but I also think too. Like, you know what I mean? Because
like I say, that might just be her way. It's not my way. And to the point where he was upset because he felt like he didn't get everything he was supposed to get.
Yeah, but that's why I was telling him.
Feeling left out, you didn't get everything. Or, like I say, if she didn't want to give extra notes or whatever, she could have told the whole class, you can also find this information such and such a place.
Because I told him, I was like, the other thing is, I said, in those situations, I said, what you have to do is, I said, because like Buck is very intelligent, and he catch on to what he want to catch on. And like I said, he only missed one thing. We went and found it. He found it as soon as we got to the house. So I was like, it's not that he wasn't catching